Welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the top 8 most valuable UA Abraham wheat penny coins, value in today's market. So let's get started. First up, the 1954 D. Lincoln wheat penny. If you've ever come across one of these in your pocket change, you might want to take a closer look. In this video, we'll break down what makes the 1954 D penny special, its value in today's market, and what you should look for if you're lucky enough to find one in fine condition. So, what's so special about the 1954 D penny? First, let's talk about its mintage. In 1954, the Denver Mint struck over 1.1 billion Lincoln wheat pennies. That's a pretty large number, which means these coins are quite common in circulated condition. However, just because a coin is common doesn't mean it's not valuable. Now, when it comes to coin value, condition is everything. In numistica, the better the condition, the higher the value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with fine condition generally falling somewhere between 12 and 20 on that scale. A 1954 D penny in fine condition will have visible details in the wheat stalks, the inscription, and Lincoln's portrait, but may show wear and light scratching from circulation. So, what can you expect for a 1954 D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition today? In 2024, you're looking at a value around 15 to 25 cents for a typical coin in fine condition. It's still a pretty affordable coin for collectors. But that doesn't mean it's not worth your time. However, if you happen to find a 1954 D penny in uncirculated or higher grades, say in MS 65 or better, the value can shoot up to $5 to $10 or more. That's a huge leap from the typical fine condition, so it pays to check your pennies carefully. Before we wrap up, one last thing to remember. While the 1954 D Lincoln wheat penny isn't the most rare or valuable coin in the series, it is still a great find for anyone who enjoys collecting these historic pieces. If you're holding on to one of these, especially in better condition, it could be worth a lot more than you thought. Next up, the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny. If you've recently found one of these in your pocket chain, or maybe you've inherited one from a family member, you might be wondering what it's worth, especially if it's in bad condition. So, first things first, the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny is part of the famous series that ran from 1909 to 1958, featuring President Abraham Lincoln. The 1953 D version, minted at the Denver Mint, had a mintage of about 200 million coins. Even though it's relatively common, the condition of the coin can make a huge difference in value. Now let's talk about what bad condition really means in terms of coin grading. In numismatics, coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything below a good 4 or fair F2 grade is considered bad condition. These coins will show extreme wear, where the details like Lincoln's portrait, the wheat stalks, and the date might be barely visible or even completely worn down. So, what's the value of a 1953 D penny in bad condition today? The short answer is not much. A 1953 D penny in good or fair condition typically sells for around 3 to 5 cents. These are the types of coins you'll find circulating in pocket change or in coin jars. If your penny is heavily worn, with very little detail, it may fall closer to the lower end of that range. Even though the 1953 D penny might not be worth much in bad condition, it's still a collectible coin. Some collectors may be interested in adding it to their collection for historical reasons, or just because they're working on completing their Lincoln Wheat Penny series. But remember, the value is primarily driven by condition. A mint state MS 1953 D penny can be worth several dollars, but in poor condition, you're really only looking at its face value or a little more, depending on demand. That being said, there are some factors that can slightly increase the value of a worn 1953 D penny. If the coin has some unique characteristics, like being a rare variety or having an error, collectors might still be interested. For instance, if you find a struck-through error, where something got stuck on the coin during production, it might make it more valuable, even if it's in rough shape. At the end of the day, if you've found a 1953 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in bad condition, don't expect to get rich off it. However, it's still a neat piece of history, and if you're a collector, it could still have some sentimental value. It's also a good reminder to always check your coins before you toss them in the jar or spend them. You never know when you'll find something rare or interesting. Next up, the 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and specifically what it's worth if you find it in a dirty, blackened condition, no mint mark, no shine. Does it still have value? Let's find out. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for all things coins, collectibles, and more. Now, I know many of you have found older pennies, like the 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny, that are covered in dirt, blackened by age, or simply look worn out. But the big question is, what is this coin worth today if it's in poor condition? Let's take a closer look at the 1948 penny without a mint mark. The 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the iconic Wheat series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. It was struck in copper and features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with wheat stalks on the reverse. Now, the key thing to note about this particular coin is that it was minted in Philadelphia, which means it has no mint mark. You might be wondering, is that important for its value? Let's find out. Now, let's talk about the dirty and black condition. Pennies from this era can get blackened and grimy from years of handling, dirt, and even exposure to elements. Sometimes, the blackness is caused by corrosion or oxidation, which can be tricky for collectors. These conditions often leave the coin looking far from pristine, and in many cases, it can make the coin harder to sell for a higher value. But don't worry, we'll talk about its value in just a second. To understand its value, let's talk about grading. The condition of your coin is crucial in determining how much it's worth. In dirty and blackened condition, most 1948 pennies would fall under a good or fair grade, which means they show significant wear. Key details, such as Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse, will be hard to see. The date may even be faint, which makes the coin harder to identify. So, what's the value of a 1948 Lincoln Wheat Penny in dirty and blackened condition today? If it's heavily worn, with the dirt and blackness affecting the details, you're probably looking at a value between 2 to 5 cents. Yes, it's still worth more than its face value, but it's not a big payout. These coins were minted in relatively large numbers, with over 300 million made, so they're not considered rare, even in less than perfect condition. The truth is, the dirt and discoloration will typically lower the value, and unless you find a coin that's a rare variety or has an error, the market for these coins is pretty limited. One thing I want to mention is cleaning. If your 1948 penny is dirty, you might be tempted to clean it to make it look nicer, but I've got to warn you, cleaning coins, especially older ones, can actually decrease their value. Harsh cleaning can scratch the surface and remove important details. If you want to clean your coin, use gentle methods like using a soft cloth or soaking it in distilled water for a short time. Now, even though a dirty, blackened 1948 penny in poor condition isn't going to fetch a high price, it's still a part of history, and there are always collectors who appreciate the significance of these coins. If you ever find a 1948 penny in better condition, say fine or uncirculated, those can be worth much more, sometimes up to $5 or $10, depending on the quality. So, to wrap it up, if you find a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny that's dirty and blackened, don't expect to strike it rich. But hey, it still holds a lot of historical value, and with enough care, it might clean up to a condition that could make it a fun addition to your collection. Just remember, condition matters most in the world of coins. Next up, the 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark. Now, this penny might not seem like much at first glance, but in today's market, the 1920 wheat penny, especially in good condition, could be worth a lot more than you think. So, let's dive in and find out why this coin is so valuable. First off, if you're new to coin collecting, a wheat penny refers to a series of pennies minted from 1909 to 1958, which feature a design with 2 ears of wheat on the reverse side. The coin's obverse features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Now, this coin was minted for decades, and while most of them aren't worth much beyond face value, some years, like the 1920, are more valuable than others. Let's talk about why the 1920 wheat penny, especially without a mint mark, is significant. You see, pennies from the 1920s are a bit rarer compared to other years, and the ones with no mint mark are particularly notable. All pennies struck in Philadelphia during this time didn't have a mint mark, unlike those produced in other locations like Denver or San Francisco, which had mint marks like D or S. So, the 1920 without a mint mark is a pure Philadelphia issue. Now, the value of this coin can vary greatly depending on its condition. Coins are graded based on their wear and tear, and that directly affects how much they're worth. For example, a 1920 wheat penny in good condition, where the coin shows significant wear but the date and design are still readable, is worth around $2 to $3. But if you've got a 1920 wheat penny in fine condition, with more detail and less wear, that could push the value to $6 to $8. But here's where it gets interesting. If you happen to have a 1920 wheat penny in very fine or even extremely fine condition, the value can skyrocket. We're talking anywhere from $20 to $50 or more, depending on how pristine the coin is. In fact, if you get a 1920 wheat penny that's graded MES 63 or higher, meaning it's almost mint state, you could be looking at a value of $100 or more. That's because these high-grade coins are much rarer and in much better condition compared to the majority of pennies you'll find. Now, the most valuable 1920 wheat penny is one that's been professionally graded and preserved. In fact, a specimen in top-tier condition could potentially fetch even more at an auction, especially if it's a high-grade coin certified by services like PCGS or NGC. For example, a 1920 wheat penny with a grade of MS65 or higher can reach $300 or more. So, if you think you've got one of these hidden treasures in your collection, it might be worth getting it professionally graded. So to wrap it up, a 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark in good to fine condition could be worth a few dollars, but if you've got one in excellent condition or better, you could have a coin worth hundreds. Always remember, the value of a coin depends on its rarity, demand, and most importantly, its condition. Next up, the 1957 D wheat penny, but with a twist. What if your coin is in damaged condition? Does it still hold value in today's market? Well, let's dive in and find out how much a 1957 D wheat penny could be worth, even if it's not in perfect shape. Before we get into it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you love learning about rare coins and their values. Now, let's talk about the 1957 D wheat penny. The 1957 D wheat penny is part of the long-running series of pennies that featured Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 ears of wheat on the reverse. What makes this coin stand out is the D mint mark, which indicates it was minted in Denver. The D mint mark appears on coins struck in Denver, and that can affect its value. However, no matter how unique or historical the coin is, its condition plays a major role in determining how much it's worth. Now, this coin isn't in pristine condition. It's actually in what we'd call damaged condition. Maybe it's been scratched, bent, or just shows significant wear from circulation. But does that mean it's worthless? Not necessarily. Coins with damage, especially from circulation, usually have a lower value than their pristine counterparts, but they can still be worth more than face value, especially if they're a common year like the 1957 D. The key factor here is how much damage the coin has sustained. Let's break it down. A typical 1957 D wheat penny in average condition, with light wear but no major damage, can be worth anywhere from 5 to 10 cents, definitely still well below $1. But when the coin is damaged, the value starts to decrease. So, if you have a 1957 D wheat penny in what we would call damaged condition, say it's got some scratches or dents, it's still worth a little more than face value. A damaged 1957 D can range from 15 to 30 cents, depending on how much wear and tear the coin has taken. Now, here's something to consider. Even damaged coins can sometimes be valuable to collectors, particularly if there's a unique story behind the damage, or if the coin has survived in a way that adds interest, like being part of a rare find. For example, some collectors seek out coins with unusual damage patterns, such as those that have been struck by a die crack or show evidence of being part of a rare batch of coins. But generally, for a typical damaged 1957 D wheat penny, the value remains modest. Just to put this into perspective, the condition of a coin is usually graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and even slight damage can lower a coin's grade. For example, a 1957 D wheat penny in poor condition could still be worth around 10 to 30 cents, depending on the extent of the damage. But coins with more significant wear, like deep scratches or bends, could drop in value to the lower end of that range. So, what should you do if you find a 1957 D wheat penny in damaged condition? First, don't just throw it away. Even if it's been through some rough times, it could still be of interest to collectors, especially if it's part of your personal collection. If you're not sure about the condition or value, it's always a good idea to get your coin professionally graded. A reputable grading service can give you a better idea of its market value, even if it's been damaged. And who knows, your damaged penny might be worth more than you think. So there you have it. The 1957 D wheat penny, even in damaged condition, can still have value, though it won't be worth as much as one in mint condition. But hey, if you're a coin collector, every penny counts, right? Next up, the 1939 wheat penny without a mint mark. And, more importantly, we'll explore how much it's worth if it's in extra fine condition. So, let's jump right into it. Stick around to find out exactly what this coin could be worth in today's market, and maybe even how you could make some money if you have one in your collection. Let's start with the basics. The 1939 wheat penny is part of the long-running series of pennies, minted from 1909 to 1958. As you can see, the obverse features Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait, and the reverse displays 2 ears of wheat. The wheat penny was a staple in American currency for decades. When we talk about coin values, condition is everything. The grade of a coin can dramatically change its value. In this case, we are discussing a 1939 wheat penny in extra fine condition. An extra fine coin is one that has very few signs of wear. You'll see some light wear on the high points of the coin, but most of the design details, like Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks, and the lettering, should be clearly visible with no major signs of wear. Extra fine coins still have most of their original luster, and you'll see the coin is still crisp and well-defined, though not as pristine as a mint state coin. That makes it valuable. That may not sound like a ton, but for a coin that was minted nearly 85 years ago, that's pretty solid. It's definitely worth more than just face value, and that's what makes these coins so interesting to collectors. So, why is a 1939 wheat penny in extra fine condition worth so much more than a regular coin in good or fine condition? Well, part of the reason is scarcity. The 1939 penny was produced in high numbers, but the ones that have survived in better condition are fewer, and they're more desirable to collectors. The 1939 is considered a common year for the wheat penny series, meaning that there were millions minted. However, the fewer that remain in extra fine condition or higher make these coins more valuable in the eyes of collectors. If your 1939 wheat penny is in even better condition, say in mint state or MS63, its value could increase significantly. A coin in MS63 or higher could be worth around $20 or more. But don't expect that from a typical 1939 in extra fine condition. While extra fine condition is excellent, if you're lucky enough to have a higher grade version, that's where you could see the biggest returns. Now, if you think you have a 1939 wheat penny in extra fine condition, you may be wondering where to sell it or how to find out its true value. You can start by visiting online coin marketplaces, checking out auction results, or even getting it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC to get an official evaluation. Professional grading can help you get the best price for your coin and ensure you're getting a fair deal. A certified coin can be more valuable because buyers trust the grade given by a reputable service. So there you have it, your 1939 wheat penny without a mint mark in extra fine condition could be worth anywhere from $6 to $8 today, depending on its exact condition. And if you have one in even better shape, you could be looking at an even higher value. Next up, the 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark that has this unusual black color shade condition. What's going on with this coin? And more importantly, how much is it worth in today's market? Stick around as we dive into the value of this coin and explain why its unique color may actually affect its worth. Let's get into it. The 1947 wheat penny is part of the famous series of pennies that were produced in the US from 1909 to 1958, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 ears of wheat on the back. These coins were minted in large quantities, but they are still a popular collectible among coin enthusiasts. Now, when we say without mint mark, that means this coin was struck in Philadelphia, the only mint where coins were made without any identifying letter. Coins produced in other mints, like Denver or San Francisco, would have a D or S mint mark, but the Philadelphia coins didn't have that. So let's talk about this black color shade we're seeing. This is not the normal look for a 1947 wheat penny. Most pennies are of reddish brown or copper color, but sometimes they can develop a dark blackened appearance. This typically happens due to several factors, including environmental exposure, tarnishing, or being stored improperly over the years. One of the most common causes for this kind of blackened look is toning, the result of a coin reacting with air, moisture, or even chemicals over time. A coin that's been exposed to high humidity, for example, could take on a dark patina, which sometimes gives it a blackish hue. When it comes to predict a coin's very valuable, supposedly, if it's very dark or unevenly toned, coins in mint condition or with a clean, bright appearance tend to be more valuable. Their collars usually come to mint. It's a surprise to find coins after mint has been burned. On Wednesday, please win this coin to an even B. The symbol close to it is exquisite consecration to the Creator, mind, and spoils. However, there are exceptions. Some collectors actually seek out coins with unique toning because they find it visually interesting or historically significant. The value of this 1947 wheat penny in black shade condition really depends on the severity of the toning and the preferences of potential buyers. So, what's this 1947 wheat penny worth in today's market? A regular 1947 wheat penny in average circulation condition, like good or fine, is worth about 3 to 5 cents. It's still worth more than its face value, but not by much. But for a 1947 wheat penny with a black shade condition, the value can vary a lot depending on how much the toning affects the overall appeal. If the black color is uniform and not too distracting, it may still hold its value in the 3 to 10 cent range. However, if the black shade is very severe or the toning has caused the coin to lose much of its detail, the value could drop even further, possibly to only 1 or 2 cents in certain cases. There is a niche market where some collectors actually pay a premium for coins with unique or colorful toning. These collectors are looking for coins with attractive toning, which can sometimes give the coin a more eye-catching artistic look. If your 1947 wheat penny has a unique, aesthetically pleasing tone, you could see it fetch a higher price at auction. However, these cases are relatively rare, and in general, a coin with a dark or blackened shade is usually seen as less desirable. So, don't expect to get a high price unless the toning is truly exceptional or the coin is in high demand for some other reason. If you think you have a 1947 wheat penny with an interesting black color shade and you want to sell it, there are a few ways to go about it. You can check online auction sites like eBay, where people buy and sell all kinds of unique or toned coins. Alternatively, you can take it to a local coin dealer who can help assess its value and let you know if it's worth selling. Just be aware that dealers might offer you less if the toning is severe or detracts from the coin's overall appeal. So, to wrap it up, a 1947 wheat penny without a mint mark in black color shade condition might still have some value, likely in the 1 to 10 cent range, depending on the severity of the toning and the collector's interest. While coins with unusual toning can sometimes fetch more, most blackened pennies tend to be worth less than their counterparts in better condition. If you've got a 1947 wheat penny with some unique toning or discoloration, don't just toss it out. It could still be valuable, especially if you find the right buyer. And remember, always check its condition and get it professionally appraised if you're unsold. Next up, the 1955 wheat penny with a D mint mark, specifically in extra fine condition. If you've got one of these in your collection, you're going to want to stick around because the value of this coin might surprise you. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe for more coin tips and valuable insights. Let's jump right into the value of the 1955 D wheat penny in extra fine condition. The 1955 wheat penny is one of the many years in the iconic Lincoln series, first introduced in 1909. This coin features the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse shows 2 ears of wheat. A D mint mark on the reverse indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The 1955 D wheat penny is part of a high mintage year, but that doesn't mean all of them are common or without value. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its worth. When we talk about coin value, condition is absolutely key. A coin's grade is determined by how well it's been preserved. The grading scale ranges from poor to mint state, and today we're focusing on the grade of extra fine. An extra fine coin means the coin shows only light wear, with most of the original details still intact. On a 1955 D, you'll see very little wear on Lincoln's hair, the wheat stalks on the reverse, and the lettering. There might be a slight smoothing of the highest points, but the overall design is still clear and crisp. Coins in extra fine condition are highly desirable because they've been well preserved, but not so much that they've been locked away in a safe or left in a perfect state. This makes them accessible to more collectors. So, what's the value of a 1955 D wheat penny in extra fine condition? Well, the good news is that these coins are definitely worth more than just their face value of 1 cent. In extra fine condition, the 1955 D wheat penny typically ranges from about $2 to $6. The exact value depends on factors like the level of wear, the quality of the strike, and the coin's overall appearance. Some might go for even more if they're in extra fine condition or have other special qualities. Now, the value of your 1955 D wheat penny can vary based on several factors. Let's break down what makes a coin in extra fine condition stand out. First, the strike. If the coin was struck well with clear details, it's going to be worth more. A weak or worn strike reduces its value. Next, the preservation. Even small details, like how well the coin has been stored, can make a difference. Finally, the market demand. If collectors are particularly interested in the 1955 D, or if there's a spike in interest for certain years, the value could see a temporary increase. Now, here's an important note. There's a rare and valuable error coin from the same year. The 1955 D double die obverse is a highly sought-after variety where the die was misaligned, causing a doubling of the inscriptions on the obverse. If you happen to have a 1955 D with this double die error, you're looking at a coin worth significantly more. These coins can fetch anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or more, depending on the condition and the exact nature of the error. However, it's important to note that this is a rare occurrence. The regular 1955 D wheat penny in extra fine condition is still valuable, but it won't reach those same high numbers unless it has that error. So, what do you do if you've got a 1955 D wheat penny in extra fine condition and you want to sell it? The first step is to determine its grade. If you're unsure, you can get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin will generally sell for more because buyers trust the grade. Once you've determined its value, you can list it on online marketplaces like eBay or take it to a reputable coin dealer. Just keep in mind the prices can fluctuate, so it's always a good idea to do your research before you sell. So, to summarize, a 1955 D wheat penny in extra fine condition is worth between $2 and $6 in today's market, with the potential for more if the coin is in mere perfect condition. If you find one with the double die error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. If you've got a 1955 D wheat penny in your collection, make sure to take a closer look at its condition. You might have a hidden gem. Oh, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you and next time. Happy collecting!